Assalamualaikum to Dr. Hadi and all my Muslim friend, and salam sejahtera kepada Mr. Pradeep and Mr. Kumar. First and foremost, I would like to introduce our group members from Group 7, who is me, myself, Mohd, Bakar, Hanafi, Mr. Hafiz, and Ms. Athirah. So I will continue our presentation today in RWT in Group Counselling. Before the introduction, this is a general approach to group counselling. Counsellor role is primarily that of a facilitator who should provide a safe and comfortable atmosphere for self-disclosure. And the second one is a focus on the here and now. So it is used in any transference situation to develop insight into their problems. Furthermore, it is help to protect members from verbal abuse from scapegoating. Self-disclosure when beneficial for participants in develop their trust. Next. Okay, develop ability to recognize when a group member is fragile. This is important because of this group members should be approached in a gentle, supportive, and non-threatening manners. Okay, for some situation, laughter and a moderate amount of joking can act as a safety valve and at times can contribute to group cohesiveness. So in this type of counselling, which is group counselling, it is cognitive and emotive techniques for REBT. For example, is for encourage participants to discover irrational belief. Second one, make connection of how the irrational belief lead to emotional distress. And this third one is challenge clients to modify their irrational belief. And the last one, dispute irrational belief and replace with a rational belief. Okay, next. Okay, for the therapeutic technique and procedures, it is purpose to change client way of thinking, feeling, or acting. Doesn't look into individual's early history. There is a focus on here and now, as I mentioned before. Focus on specific techniques for changing client self-defeating thought in concrete situation. In addition to modified belief, this approach helps group members see how their belief influence what they feel and what they do. Thus, there is also a concern for changing feeling and behavior that through dysfunction thinking pattern in their mind. Next. Key concept assumption of REBT. The first one is thinking, feeling, behaving, continually interact with and influence one and another. Emotional disturbance are caused by biological and environment factors. We are influenced by people and things around us, and we also affect those around us who involved with us directly or indirectly. Another one is create irrational belief about events, such as emotional distress arise from our irrational belief from maybe childhood before. Irrational belief can be modified by using cognitive, emotive, and behavioral methods. In order from change to occur, we need to act several things, which is take responsibility for our irrational thoughts for our patients. Look at how the clients feel, things, and behave, and we have to make sure our clients do the hard work to change. Next. So for the goals of RWT groups, it's help participants through a process of achieving unconditional self-acceptance, which we call USA, and unconditional other acceptance, which we call UOA. Otherwise, it helps differentiate between realistic and unrealistic and self-defeating and self-enhancing goals. For the last one is change dysfunction emotion into healthy ones. Okay. For the advantage of RABT applied to group work, there's several advantages you can see here. The first one, homework assignment in group context, VS one-to-one therapy. The second one is offer several procedures. The third one, homework report form from our client. Next one is sharing personal problems, and the last one, listening to others' problems. This is an evaluation of RBT in group counselling. The first one, we go to the strength. Many disorder can be addressed in RBT group counselling. The second one, explore self-defeating defeating beliefs and replacing with one rational or rational ones. I mean the irrational belief replacing with the rational ones. So the third one is group leaders can learn to identify their internal dialogue. Then the last one, help members deal with everyday living. Yeah, this all for strengths. For the limitations, we can see here group leader imposing his or her values on members. So the second one, members can feel pressured to accept goals and values of the group leaders. So for the last limitation, we can see here, member may depend on group leader about what constitutes reality. Okay, I think that's all from my parts. I will pass the baton to Cikgu Athirah to continue our presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Hamad. Okay, I will explain about the concept of REBT. The Rational Emotional Behavior Therapy, REBT, was pioneered by Dr. Albert Einstein since 1995. It was first started and developed from some approach of behavior cognitive therapy. Until now, it has become one of the most popular therapy and the most cost and time effective approach. REBT is also a generalized therapy approach, almost suitable for every cases, particularly when looking into an individual desire, truly focusing on present, and at the same time also work as recovery approach to enhance the coping skill while facing problem in life. According to Alice, REBT divide life problems into two categories, namely, first, practical problems, which involve the outward factors. Second, emotional problems, which involve the inward feeling. The outward problems derive from interaction process between human and the environment, incident experience, personally or witness from others, whereas the inward problems would be the emotional disorder which derive from an individual perceptions towards the incident. The effect of emotional disorder would then affect the outward behavior. According to Alice, our thought cognitive play a very important role in assessing every incident that happened. The core of emotional disorder is irrational thinking. Thus, the way a person thinks, rational or irrational, toward a past incident, whether it is a personal experience or witness from others, will affect behavior. Alice had identified 11 types of fast trust systems which were based on irrational thinking. REBT looked at life problems as a chain whereby the incident that happened, the belief system, as well as how effect, emotion and behavior are interrelated. The main objective of REBT is to minimize the risk of self-destruction by enhancing realistic thought through a more liberal life philosophy. Alice stressed that to enhance emotional well-being and reduce the risk of problematic behavior, narrow-minded life philosophy which were based on irrational thinking must be corrected. As such, Alice has suggested an action plan to enhance a more liberal life philosophy by using various strategies to challenge and to correct the fast trust system in hope to produce positive emotion and behavior. That's all to my part. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to our group member, Mr. Hamad and Chief Athirah for the great sharing. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning to Honorable Dr. Hani and all of my friends. I'm Hafiz bin Lukman. We'll continue with my topic. The topic about application techniques that are used in REBT group counseling. Okay. The first slide uh, based on the REBT model by Ellis. The main thing in REBT are the ABC technique. It start with G or the goal. For example, to do well, to just along with people, to enjoy yourself. A is adversity or activating event that's block or thwart your goal. Uh, all human who survive a goal, value and desire, which are innate and part of what is learned through by the parents or the cultures. Okay. B B is what you tell about it your belief system, both the healthy rational belief system, preferences and goal. For example, I do not like, I wish, I wish were not so, and the unhealthy irrational belief system demand, odds, must, should. For example, therefore it should not exist. I know the right way, you know the wrong way, and you should die. Okay. C is the emotional and behavior consequence, which is the actual disturbance. Usually, it is the feeling, for example, as an anxiety or depression, but it's also behavior. For example, procrastination, compulsive thinking, smoking, and so on. Okay. The next slide about D. D is disputing, questioning, challenging your irrational belief until you change them back to the preferences. The cognitive technique consists of finding and disputing irrational belief and changing them back to preferences. Uh, and the last, based on the identity model, E. E is a new emotional and behavior effect after the client gains mental literacy as a result of D. Okay, if they only likely dispute them, they get what is called intellectual insight. They say, for example, it's true, I don't need your approval, I only prefer it. But underneath, they are saying, I really do. I must have it. Okay, for example, discussion in group counseling session, we about sadness after being divorced by her husband. Okay, what happened in a group? Divorce. Uh, what happened not because of divorce, but not trust of the group member about the failure, to be rejected, or losing his partner. Uh, okay, Ines has pointed out the main reason for sadness is not because of the event. Uh, event divorce A. Okay, therefore, humans are responsible to existence of emotional action and destruction. In this case, we explain that individual are interrupt as they continue to repeat the irrational verses. For example, I'm very disappointed with fellow. My fellow was all of my own mistake. Okay, this emotional disorder causes depression and anxiety. This situation will cause the individual to hold up with the irrational belief. D, counselor had disputing, counselor had the client dispute the irrational belief system. Uh, the counselor detect irrational belief system, for example, must, was, or lost yourself. After that, group member will learn to question the belief that restricts is all this time. Okay. And then the group member will learn to discriminate against irrational belief and belief in rational thinking. Okay, the next slide. Okay, for the conclusion, the RBT group counseling aspect change in terms of emotional aspect of a problem with a more rational figure. Uh, the group members create a writer that can move trouble members to change from emotional aspect and more positive behavior. Experience of every group member, mutual help, and rational thinking can positively impact the problematic group member, and the positive idea and the role of group member can indirectly change the thinking of the problematic member to be more rational. Okay, that's all for our presentation today, and thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.